Hey, my name is Selim, and I'm a car guy. So basically, I'm friends with Tunch, and I talked to him about how I got this car. This is a GT350, and it's a dream car for me, but I'll get into that in a little bit. But I was telling him about how I wanted to protect it, and because I want to keep it for life. It's not a car I want to sell, and I want to just collect it. But I asked him about, what processes he would recommend in terms of taking care of it, and he told me that, frankly, I could just bring it to 3D and that they would help get it done, and also teach me a lot about the process because I knew nothing. But that's why I'm here. I'm here because I love driving, I love my car, but I really don't know how to take care of the cleaning part, really. And so I'm kind of getting some lessons in that and getting it taken care of and getting it ceramic coated as well in the process. So that's pretty exciting for me.
Hey, you must be Selim.
I am.
Nice to meet you.
Nice to finally meet you, Mike.
Yeah, so tell you what, what brought you to California?
I got the invite from Tunch, and at first I didn't know he was serious about it, and then yeah, he was actually serious about it, and here I am.
Yeah.
He offered basically for me to, get the car ceramic coated, but first get it washed, and more importantly, me to learn from you.
Okay. Have you ever detailed cars before?
Never in my life.
So this would be a first time for you?
Pretty much.
Well, we're gonna make it fun.
Okay.
And Tunch is a super nice guy. So,
really is.
Being down here, a lot of these products are all his brainchilds or his formula. He's a great chemist. And not only do the products perform well, but they're fun to use. So, detailing doesn't have to be hard work.
Okay.
So let's get started.
All right. When it comes to this car, I'm a big car guy, and one of the things that I've never been able to drive was a stick shift car. And, V8s are dying, unfortunately, and manual cars are dying even faster than those are. So my goal, especially when I got out of college, I went to UCLA, was to be able to get a car that has a stick in it and has a V8 in it, and preferably naturally aspirated, because those are also going away. And I found the Shelby GT350, and that became kind of a car that I was looking to get and trying to find. And, eventually I was trying to find it, couldn't, it was marked up and whatnot. And then COVID hit, and the Heritage Edition had also come out. And this was kind of following the Ford versus Ferrari and all that history behind Ford racing in motorsport, along with Carroll Shelby. And this car, the Heritage Edition, became really meaningful to me, and I really wanted to find it and buy it. So much so that when I tried going to a dealership just to test drive it in Houston, Texas, that's where I'm from, Houston, they wouldn't let me test drive any basic Shelby GT350. So I realized that if I got this car, I was probably gonna have to drive it for the first time ever when it arrived, when I got it. Long story short, found one in Missouri, got it sent over to Houston, and thing is, since I don't know how to drive a manual, I kind of took one of those 3 pedals that you have from those car video games like Gran Turismo and whatnot, and put it on, watch videos, Matt Farah, and I watched him just teach me how to drive stick and working the pedals, imagining how it comes, and then I got a call saying the car's here. And it was here a lot sooner than I thought, so it was kind of scary. Went over, saw it come down, and I had to drive it out because I didn't come with anyone else. All my friends were busy. My friends that drove stick were busy, so I had to figure out how to drive the car back. And yeah, I caused some Houston traffic back that day, but the car is in one piece. You kind of learn when you jump out the nest, and I definitely learned how to drive the car back that day. And ever since, I've done a lot of driving, even though I'm relatively young. I've done race courses and everything, but driving a manual car teaches me how to drive even better, and it's like learning how to drive all over again. So it's been really a lovely experience driving this car especially, and hey, being out here in California with all the windy, twisty roads, it's like heaven. So I'm a happy camper, indeed.
Okay, so we've got your Mustang in here, and it's a beautiful car. And I know that you want to learn how to wash it, basically work on it yourself.
Yeah.
But what is your ultimate goal?
You know, this is a car I want to keep for life, so protecting it, making sure that I can ensure that it lasts long,
Sure.
looks good,
Yeah.
and stays in the best condition possible. That's my goal. So
Okay.
learning about that, learning how to do that, honestly.
Have you ever heard about ceramic coatings?
You know, I have. Okay. A lot of people have talked about it to me.
Well, you know, there's basically three groups of paint protection type products. There's traditional car waxes, synthetic paint sealants, and now we have a new category called ceramic coatings. And the benefit to the ceramic coatings is it's going to last longer, it's going to protect longer, and it's also going to make washing your car faster and easier into the future. So there's only upsides to it. The only downside is that there's an extra step involved in putting it on, but it's not that big a deal.
Okay.
And I can show you how to do that.
Perfect.
So the first thing we need to do is wash the car. And one of the things I like to teach people is the most important thing about keeping a nice finish nice is it all comes down to how you touch it, okay? And most people don't think about this, but let's just break this down. The average person, the thing they'll do the most to their car is wash it, okay? You're not gonna change the spark plugs. You're not going to pull the interior out, but after a week of driving back and forth to work, the Saturday you're going to go out and wash it. So now you're going to push a mitt over it. You're going to touch it.
Yeah.
See? Okay. And then maybe halfway through the week, maybe you're going to go to a cruise-in. You're going to take a spray detailer and a microfiber towel. Like here's a clean microfiber towel. You're going to spray the detailer on, and you're going to touch it, okay?
Okay.
So everything that touches this paint has to be clean and uncontaminated. Now, before we started, I came out here and I found this towel on the ground, and this is what I'm trying to show you. See, there's a dried leaf, there's a stick, there's just all kinds of contaminants in this towel. And if you try to wash this in a washing machine and dryer, you're never going to get this stuff out. So this towel is never going to be used on paint again. So part of the thing you want to do in your own home garage is you want to get a process in place so you have a place that once you've used a towel or a mitt and you're done with it, you have a place to put it so it's not on the ground getting contaminated like that, so it stays clean. Then it goes to the washer, the dryer. You need a clean place, like a clean workbench. You make sure it's clean. Then you put everything on there, you fold it, inspect it, and put it away in a place that'll keep it clean.
Okay.
And that's kind of like the microfiber towel cycle or the wash mitt cycle, but you've got to have a way to keep the things that are going to touch the paint clean, because it's going to take us hours to completely detail this car. And if there's one little tiny particulate that's pokey and sharp in here and you run it over the car, you're going to put a scratch in. So it takes hours to detail it. It takes seconds to put a scratch in. And then if you put more scratches in, because whatever you're using is dirty, if you go back and try to remove them, you're back to hours. So everything's got to stay clean. Make sense?
Yeah. No, it does. It does. Yeah.
So that's kind of the key thing. And I know a lot of people want to dive deep into like the chemicals or the tools, but it really comes down to the simple things that touch the paint.
Well, you know, warning, I don't even know anything about cleaning. I mean, obviously I know wash the car with water, soap, dry it. But when it comes to even microfiber towels and stuff, like I've heard of those things. I'm really just kind of a novice when it comes to this part. I like driving the car, so that's my focus usually. I don't know that much about cleaning. Can you possibly explain that more?
Yep, so what we're gonna do, and this is what I teach in all my classes, when it comes to washing a car, the first thing we want to do is start with wheels and tires. Okay. Now, a lot of people teach to start at the top and work your way down. And that makes sense, except I've timed myself to clean one wheel and one tire. Takes about 15 minutes, okay? And you got 4, so that's an hour. So if you wash the car and then rinse it, you have water standing on the car. Look at these graphics, okay?
Yeah.
You got water sitting there. Now you're down low cleaning wheels and tires for an hour, and that means the water up here could be drying, and there's enough corrosive substances in our water nowadays that it can actually leave water spots on the graphics in the paint. So instead of putting yourself in that position, start with the wheels and tires first, and then start at the top and work your way down, and then you can dry the car off, and you never have standing water in the car. Make sense? Okay. And for me, I always like to do the hardest thing first. And to me, washing the wheels and tires is harder or more difficult or less fun than, say, just washing the body. I mean, it's kind of fun to come out here, you got a cool car, wash the car. Who wants to sit on their butt and clean wheels and tires?
Honestly, I neglect them way too much, so you're actually spot on.
They look neglected.
They are neglected,
Okay.
Unfortunately. Sorry about that, guys.
So we're going to start with the wheels and tires first. And to do that, we're going to use, this is a 3D, this is an orange degreaser. It's citrus based, so it's safe on anything. And it's going to break, you have two things that build up on the wheels and the tires. You have brake dust. Every time you hit the brakes, you got metal particles that are emitted off the calipers and the rotor, and they build up onto the wheel and the tire and everything on the car basically. But if you ever drive in the rain, you also get what's called road film. Now road film is, the way I like to explain it is, if you look at a parking lot when there's no cars in it and there's all the parking spaces, correct? In the middle of the space, if you look down, you're going to see oil that is dripped out of the car engine.
Yeah.
You got power steering fluid, motor oil, gear oil, all kinds of fluids. After cars get older, they start to drip on it. Well, when you drive down the road, those same cars are dripping down the road, and that's why if you look down a road on a dry, warm day, the center part of the road is darker. Okay, that stuff dripping. Now, when it rains, the car's in front of you, that oil mixes with the water, it goes up on your car and it creates road film or traffic film on your car and also your wheels and tires. So now when the brake dust comes off, it sticks to the oily road film. So that was my point, is you got two things that are always building up on your car, on your wheels, brake dust and oily road film. Okay.
Good. Didn't know about that.
Yeah. So the orange degreaser will break down. It's a citrus base. It'll break that oily film up. And then we also have the 3D BDX. This is an iron remover, so it'll remove the brake dust. It'll cause the brake dust to release off the rim, so we can wash it and rinse it off.
Will it make my brakes stop less, or?
No. Won't affect any of that stuff.
Okay.
So that would be the first step. And then after that, we get the wheels and tires done. Then the next thing we'll do is we'll start at the top and work our way down. And we're going to come back to the BDX again. This is an iron remover that you can also use on the paint. So cars naturally, when they're exposed to the environment, they get a buildup of contamination. One of those contaminants is iron. And iron is present in all different kinds of sorts of pollution. And what happens, if there's any iron pollution on here, we're going to spray this on there and it'll turn purple or red.
No way.
Yeah, it will. And
I'm kind of excited to see that happen.
Yeah. Well, actually, you don't want to see it happen.
Okay, never mind.
Okay, so no, you don't. If it happens, it's a good thing because that means we're going to get it off.
Yeah.
But if it is there, that means it's been corroding your paint. So it's better to. I always call this the car insurance analogy to iron removers. Is you want to use it just like you want to have car insurance, right?
Yeah.
But you don't want to see it work. You don't want to use your car insurance.
Unfortunately, you're right.
Yeah. See, so it's kind of, I call it the car insurance analogy to iron removers.
Okay.
Anyway, so that's what we'll do, and then we'll dry it off, and then we're going to do what's called the Baggie Test, and we'll go from there. But let's start first with washing. Now, when it comes to washing the rims, you need brushes, and of course, I always like to do everything by machine if I can. This is a Flex cordless rotary buffer, and you can see I put a brush on here. So instead of scrubbing by hand, I let the machine do the work. And, machine always outperforms the human. So watch the Terminator sometimes, see what happens.
I love to drive and done off-roading in cars and all that stuff and scratched it up, and it's all fun and games. But with this car being a lot more limited in production and kind of just, they don't make it anymore, I wanted to be a lot more careful with how I drive this car and what I do to it. But at the same time, I do want to enjoy my car. I don't want the car to just, sit, not be used and not have miles on it. So one of the things I've been looking forward to is getting paint protection so that I could actually make sure I can drive this car at least more free of thought and concern and worry than normal, even though I like to play with it quite a bit. But still, at least it'll be more safe to the paint and in the car in general.
These are brand new microfiber towels. And you notice that before I put these down, I also wiped this off, okay? So back to everything that touches your car has to be clean and uncontaminated. So just put those little best practices into place and you won't scratch your paint. Okay. Now, even though these are brand new, I'm gonna show you a technique I'd like to share with everybody. If, before you ever wipe a car down with anything, you should look at it with your eyes and then take and feel this with your hands. And make sure there's nothing pokey or sharp in there, because microfiber, it grabs things. It's going to grab the water off your car. It's going to grab wax off your car. It grabs things. That's why we like it. It grabs things. But it also grabs things like sticks and dead bugs and rocks. So before you ever use a towel to wipe your car, just take a moment to inspect your towels. Make sure they pass the inspection. If they don't, discard the towel or do something like use it to check the motor oil. Don't wipe your paint down with it.
Okay.
Then once they pass, then let's just go ahead and get all the water off this car.
Okay.
And you'll find if you take one side of that towel and get some water off the glass real quick, then flip it over, now your hand will actually grab that towel a little easier because it's moist. Then tackle the paint.
So is there a specific side to the microfiber towel that is used for a certain purpose, or not really?
Not really. Well, this towel is a dual-sided towel, so it has a rich, fluffy weave on one side, and it's got a flat weave on the other side, and you could just use that to your advantage for applying or removing different types of products. Okay, now that we got the car washed and dried, and she cleaned up really well, by the way.
Yeah, it looks good.
This is a garage kept car, correct?
Yes.
Okay, it looks like it is. It's in good shape. And it's a lot more fun to detail a car that's in good shape than a car that's in really bad shape, which is what I normally get to do. So I'm having a good time here today. Now that after we got it washed, remember when we did that chemical decontamination and it kind of turned a little purple and we got lucky, there wasn't a lot of contamination?
Yes.
Okay, so the next thing we're gonna do is called the Baggie Test. We're gonna feel the paint, see if it needs to be mechanically decontaminated. Okay. And to do that, you'll see I got a couple baggies here, so grab one.
Okay.
And then just take your clean hand and just fill the paint before you put the baggie on. And this is something I teach guys that want to detail for money. You always want to have the customer feel the paint with their hand before the Baggie Test. Now it feels smooth, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Okay, now slide your hand into the baggie. And I think when you feel it, it still feels smooth, okay?
Yeah.
So this is a good sign. It means it's not really contaminated. And I've already went around and filled the rest of the body panels. So we don't actually need to clay this car. Okay. But if we felt little bumps on there, that would be a sign that we need to do what's called mechanical decontamination. If you step over here, I'll show you a couple tools for that.
Please.
Okay, so this is the Nano Pad. And this is the Nano Towel. These are 3D products, and the way these work is they work like detailing clay, but they're a replacement for clay. Okay. And there's actually a pulverized abrasive in this polymerized rubber surface here, and this would fit onto a polisher like this, and then you'd run the polisher with the spray lube onto the car, and it would take those contaminants off. Sweet. Or you could take something like this, and usually you fold it 4 ways like this, hold it in your hand, and then rub that over the paint, and it'll actually shear off all those contaminants and get you back down to completely smooth paint. Okay. But we get to skip that step because this is a garage kept car and you've kept it in really nice shape. Okay, so the next thing we're going to get into the coatings. Now, here's the 3D coating, and this, I love this product. You're going to love it too. Gosh, it's not only is it really easy to use, but it creates incredible gloss. And these just come in little tiny bottles, okay? But before we can use this, we've actually got to do what's called paint correction. Okay. Now, and that's where we're going to jump into polishers and a product called 3D1 and the wipe. But what we want to do is, even though the paint looks good, before you put a coating on, it's just really important to perfect the paint. Okay. So we're going to do a light polishing to this, including the graphics and everything, and that's going to remove any minor swirls or scratches, any kind of staining, surface texture, any kind of contamination that we haven't already removed, and just get that down to just bare, naked paint. Perfect. And then we'll use the wipe to chemically strip the paint, and then we'll put the coating on, and then we'll be done.
Okay, sounds like a plan.
Okay, so Now, when we want to start polishing the paint, I brought 3 different polishers out here, and clear coats are typically so hard that you really can't work them in the old, like we did in the old days, by hand. So you need a polisher. This is the 3D random orbital polisher. See how it just kind of free spins there?
Yeah.
Okay, this is a great entry-level tool, and I'll get you going on that.
Thanks.
This is what's called a finisher by Flex, and this is like that, but it has a little bit larger orbit stroke. And then this is called the Beast. It's the Flex 3401, and this is gear-driven. Here are the gears.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah. So this is a lot more powerful, but since you're brand new to this, I want to just kind of start you out, you know, like the old saying, you need to learn to walk before you run.
Oh, hell. I mean, when I first got this car, I did not know how to drive stick, and I definitely had to learn that process slowly.
On this car?
Yeah.
How many horsepower does this thing have?
525, yeah.
Yeah, that's a good learning experience. So, well,
Power walked.
We'll get you going. Yeah. You know, I like to make detailing fun, make it easy, and then, you know, you can always gravitate to more powerful tools. The primary difference between, say, a free spinning or an entry-level tool and a more powerful tool is how fast you can get heavy correction done. Okay. And you obviously you don't need the heavy correction. As long as you keep washing it carefully like we discussed,
yes,
you won't ever need to do the heavy correction.
Fair.
So that's the best way to go.
Okay.
Okay, so then what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna get you started on the 3D. I need to break out some extension cords, and I'll just show you how to basically buff out a small section of paint. And then all you're going to do is, after I teach you that, is you're just going to keep duplicating that over the rest of the car body. It's really not that hard.
Okay.
So you hold this, and I'll go to get an extension cord.
All right.
Okay, I'm going to give you a crash course on machine polishing or paint correction. Okay. Now, first thing, you've got your polisher there, right? It's plugged in, but you need a buffing pad. And buffing pads can be confusing, but I'm going to try to show you how to make it really simple. A lot of people get confused about color codes because everybody's got a different color. But what I have here is a cutting pad, a polishing pad, and a finishing pad. And I want you just to take and feel the foam, feel how sharp that is, and then it's really stiff. Try to compress it by squeezing it. Okay, cutting pad. Okay?
Yeah, okay.
Okay, here's a polishing pad. Now feel it. A little bit softer.
A little bit. Still
not
firm.
Quite as stiff.
Yeah.
Okay. Still firm, but not quite as firm. And then feel this finishing pad. Feel how soft that is.
Yeah.
Okay.
And really soft.
And really compresses easy. Okay. So if I didn't know the color code of a company's pads, I could just feel them, the sharpness and the stiffness, and probably make a pretty good guess as to which pad it is. Now, because your paint really doesn't have any swirls and scratches, being that it's, you know, just like a year old and garage kept, we really don't need to get aggressive with this. So I'm going to go ahead and pick just something right in the middle, not the soft finishing pad, not the aggressive pad, but the purple, the light purple pad, which is a polishing pad. And I'm going to see your polisher. I'm going to show you how to put this on, because you want to center this as best as you can. So here you got your backing plate is a 5-inch. It matches the backing of the pad. And you just want to bring this down and try to get it as centered as perfectly as you can. And then spin it. Look how perfect that is. It's like I've done this before, okay?
It's like a tire rotation.
I'm gonna give you this one. The next time you gotta put the pad on.
Oh, no.
Now, to do the paint correction, we're gonna use this product from 3D called One. And the reason it's called One is because it's all you need. You just need this one product.
I love it.
And it's a compound and a polish. It's a hybrid product. It'll tackle really deep swirls and scratches if you need to with an aggressive pad, or you could finish out with the black soft finishing pad, or you could go right to that sweet spot in the middle like we're gonna do, just some light polishing. So let me take the tool, and I'm gonna show you a couple of things to make this real simple. So first we're gonna put some product onto the pad. Okay, there's a little circle of product. Okay. Then always, because you're going to be, I'm going to teach you here on the hood, you want to pull the cord over your shoulder so you're not sitting here dragging it up and down the fender.
Smart.
And then you want to take, and hand me a microfiber towel over there, would you?
Yes, sir.
Okay, this is key with a tool like this. Most microfiber towels in the market are 16 inches by 16 inches, okay? And this is about the size you want to tackle. So when you're looking at your car, you want to go, well, here's a section, here's a section, here's a section. So you would divide this panel into 3, then you'd have to come up here and get these. But you divide larger panels into smaller sections, and this is about as big of an area as you ever work if you're doing heavy defect removal. Because your paint's in good shape, we can tackle a little bit bigger section.
Okay.
And then this is key. Don't ever turn this on until that is in contact with the paint. So flip it over, rest it on the paint, then go ahead and turn it on. The speed controller is in the back. I'm going to bring the speed up a little bit. Then the first thing I'm doing is I'm just going to spread my product out. And if you look, I've got this nice little section here.
Yeah.
Now I'm going to bring my speed all the way up to, we'll try the 5 because you're new at this. It goes to 6, but 5 is enough for what we're going to do here. And then all you're going to do is you're going to do what's called a section pass. So here's our section. We're going to go front to back and then side to side and overlap your passes by about 50%. And do this for something in good shape like 3, 4, maybe 5 section passes. And then it's time to move on to a new section.
Okay.
And so that would look like this. Always put a little bit of weight right here. Don't push down here or your butt's crooked, okay? Okay, now I'm gonna reverse directions. So this way. See how I'm just kind of overlapping by about 50%?
Yeah, yeah.
This is as difficult than to repeat the pattern. And that's all there really is to machine polishing. I mean, once you figure out that crosshatch pattern, it doesn't get any more difficult than that. Okay, so again, cord over shoulder. Cord over shoulder. Don't turn the polisher on until the pad's in contact with the paint. And go ahead and do that for like 4 more section passes.
Okay, so it's now on.
Perfect. See, it's easy, isn't it? Keep going. Lock that trigger into place. There you go. So this would be your second time you went over that section, so that's 2 section passes. Change direction. This is the third. Overlap by 50%. And then one more time. There you go. And then this is key. Turn it off and don't lift the pad off. Let it stop spinning.
It's kind of locked.
Okay, right there. Push on the back of it.
Push on the back of it.
Every tool has a kind of a different style to the trigger. For that one's on the back. The key thing is you don't want to lift that up while it's spinning, because look at this fresh air intake grill you got here.
Yeah.
You could potentially throw a little splatter dots. Now you got to get a toothbrush out and clean it. So let the pad stop spinning, then lift it off.
Makes sense.
Okay, so then we want to wipe this off. And then remember when we washed the car, we talked about always inspecting your towels. Okay, so at this point here, that paint is flawless. If there was one sharp little particle in here and you started wiping that polish off, you'd scratch the paint again. So that's what I meant. Always make sure everything that touches the paint is clean and soft. So I take this towel, I fold it 4 ways, and look at this like it's a clamp. I'm gonna clamp that right there. Okay. Lay this down flat, and I'm gonna kind of spread my fingers out, and I'm gonna kind of scrunch that up between my fingers. Now look at the towel control I got. And then just make small, overlapping little circular motions, and everything is easy to wipe off when you use good technique like that.
Wow.
And that's the beauty of one.
Wow.
3D one. Amazing gloss and clarity. And
yeah, you could really see a difference, you know, between both sides.
Exactly. The gloss has been epic, but now this paint, now feel it. Feel how smooth that is.
That actually feels smoother than before.
It does.
It really does.
Yeah. Okay, and then we're going to repeat this. We'll tag team this. We'll do the rest of the car. Okay. And then we'll come back. We're going to use a product called Wipe to wipe the paint down, then we'll put the coating on. And that's as complicated as it gets. Okay. Okay, so you use that tool. I happen to bring one of my favorite tools. This is, I'll let you play with this one too. This is the cordless flex. This is gonna take a little bit larger pad, but the kind of the cool thing about this is no cord to put over my shoulder. I'll let you play with this after you warm up on that. Okay. Okay, so add some more product to your pad. Go ahead and move down to a new section. I'm gonna jump up on the roof.
All right. All right, plan out this area.
Okay, so we're ready to put the coating on.
Okay.
What I'd like you to do is take that watch off.
Okay.
Look how perfect this paint is. I don't need you bumping into the paint with your watch.
There we go.
Okay, next thing you do is put some nitrile gloves on. Now there's two reasons to do this. One is there's a wise saying that goes like this: anything on your skin is in you. Okay, so I want the coating on the car, don't want it in me. And so this is this little bit of personal protection here. And then the other reason is you don't want to get any of your finger oils on the paint. So the paint needs to be perfectly clean in order for the coating to make a proper bond. So now there's two ways to put a coating on. I prefer the buddy system, but sometimes you're by yourself, so you don't have a buddy. And
Call that the Lone Star system?
I guess so. Since you're from Texas, we'll call it the Lone Star system. But what we're going to do is we're going to take and put the coating. The coating comes with a little foam block. And it comes with a little microfiber suede patch. I got one here for you and one for me. So take this, and I'll show you how you do this. Okay, then take your foam block, and you're just going to take and wrap it around lengthwise like that. Okay, pull it up.
Well, okay, around the hard side.
Yep. You want the soft side with the patch on it, because that way it conforms to the curves of the body panel. Just like that. Okay, here's our coating. Then we're just going to take and put a few drops right down the center like this. Okay. And then this is as simple as it gets, okay? All you're going to do is you just want to kind of map out in your mind's eye a section you're going to work. Usually kind of like when you're buffing, you divide larger panels into smaller sections.
Okay.
And then most of the time you just want to kind of make an overlapping pass and do this like 4 times. So I've went over this section once. I'm going to go a different direction. And the goal here is just to spread that coating out nice and thin. See how I'm doing that?
Yeah.
Okay. And if you use the ambient light, so the light's overhead, and you look down at an angle, you can see that thin film going down. See that?
Yeah.
And sometimes you can see what's called a rainbow appearance. Okay, that's the solvents reacting with the light, and you see just the color of the rainbow. And what's going to happen here, this is the last time I'm going to go over this, what's going to happen is the carrying agents are going to flash or evaporate. It's going to leave the solids behind, and with this coating you only have to wait about 30 to 45 seconds, and then you give it a final buff. Now we've got brand new clean towels, and part of the wiping action, you're also kind of spreading that coating out. You're leveling it.
Okay.
Okay, so it's been at least 30 seconds. Now I'm just going to come down here and see how I'm touching the car, because I want to lean against a little bit, but I got my gloves on. Just a nice, soft, gentle wipe. Turn my towel over, and that section of paint is now coated.
Oh.
Boom. Look how beautiful that looks.
It does.
And it's very slippery here. And it's just a little grabby here because it's just been polished and wiped with the solvent. Okay, so you go ahead and you do the rest of this side of the hood.
Okay.
And this is, you know, when you're doing this, Selim, you need to be focused, you know, because this is the most important part. You're sealing the paint now with the coating.
It's what we've been working towards the whole day.
All day working on this car to get to this point. And then it's important to remember where you leave off, so when you go to do the rest of the panel there, you know where to kick back in. And I usually overlap just a little bit into the previous section.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it doesn't like build up too much when you
No. First of all, a professional coating is designed to bond instantaneously. Okay, in the old days of waxes and sealants, you know, you would put these products on and you got to let them dry, then come back and wipe them off. It could be an hour. But with this here, like, you put it on and it's bonding instantly. This is a professional grade coating. Tunch Goran, the head chemist here at 3D, formulated this himself.
And for the towel, do you switch it up every time?
You want to change towels fairly often, yeah, because you know you're going to get a buildup. But if you look down here, there's a lot of confusion over this. But look at the paints. Do you see like a big thick layer of coating?
I don't.
So how much, when you wipe, how much do you think is going to end up on the towel? Very little. So it's not like the old days of wax where, you know, you can see you actually cake up on the towel.
I see. Okay.
Okay, then go ahead and you can set that down if you want to. And
right
you know, 30 seconds, 45 seconds, you're probably ready to go right now because it's been bonding already.
Yeah.
And then use the ambient light and kind of try to look at the surface. What you're looking for is what's called a high spot. All a high spot is excess product. In the old days, when you put a coat of wax on, if you didn't get the wax off, they called that a smear or a streak.
Okay.
That's what a high spot is. It's just excess residue that you didn't get wiped off. And it's crucial to wipe it off, because if you don't wipe it off, it's gonna completely solidify and harden, and it'll be there. And then the only way to get that off is to either compound or polish it off. So this is just as important as putting on, is leveling it and making sure you've removed all the high spots.
Okay.
Make sense?
Yes, it does.
And I know there's a lot of mystery sometimes shrouded because you're up in social media world. People are talking about coatings.
Yeah.
But everything we've done here today is something the average person can do.
Yeah.
It's just take your time.
I'm an average person, by the way. Yeah. So this is
And
good.
so am I. Yeah. So. Okay. Okay, so now all we gotta do is the rest of the car.
Okay. Oh my God.
So tell you what, let's mix things up. We'll do the tag team method I like to teach. So you put the coating on, and I will follow you and level it and wipe the excess off.
Okay.
And that way we can do it faster. And then all you got to do is focus on putting it on, and then all I got to do is focus on leveling it and taking it off.
Perfect. Perfect.
Wherever you want to jump in.
I was gonna say I just gotta do this little sliver.
Go for it.
Do we do on top of decals?
You bet. Anything smooth and hard, you can use the 3D ceramic coating on. We can hit these mirrors too. The plastic spoiler back there, the wing.
Perfect.
And this is kind of like, since you said you needed to get that, see, that's what part you got to do. You got to remember where you put it on, where you didn't, and get 100% coverage.
And this is gonna be more linear, right? Because
Yes.
there's not so much space to work with.
And sometimes I use a saying. Actually, I wrote this article years ago. It's called "Let the panel be your guide." You know, so if you're working on a long, thin panel, a lot of times you can't do a crosshatch pattern, so you just use a linear or back and forth motion. The key thing is to work clean. Okay, so your applicator's clean. You're not grinding any dirt into it. You're keeping it clean, and then also just uniform coverage. Beautiful, man.
Okay. You know, Tunch and I, you know, he had offered to get my car sent and detailed and everything, but I kind of thought he was just being nice, and I didn't want to push it at all. But then he said, like, Selim, I'm serious, and then it kind of got real, and he offered for me to get actual like training and learning how this whole process works with Mike one-on-one, and kind of with the team here at 3D, learn about just in general high quality car care products that happen to be 3D, and they happen to be great. But at the same time, yeah, he kind of allowed me to get this experience where I now know how to take care of my car when I'm at home in my garage, when I don't have like a beautiful studio to do everything in and everything. So it's gonna be repeatable and sustainable, as opposed to like just getting it done at some other place and not even seeing anything and just getting a clean car and not knowing how it happened. So I like to take care of my cars, honestly, and I like to touch my car, and I like to share, but don't like other people touching the car all the time. So definitely nice to be able to learn how to touch it myself and actually take care of it properly. So how did I do?
You did great. I'm trying really hard to find something to wipe off, but there's nothing there. So
Okay.
You did good. There's no high spots anywhere. And look at the gloss. I mean, it just looks freaking amazing.
It looks shiny, indeed.
Yep. So after going through this process, starting, remember, we washed the wheels and tires, washed the car. Do you feel comfortable touching your own car, touching the paint?
You know, now I do. It's definitely a process, definitely helps to learn it. So I appreciate you teaching me. Thank you, Mike. But no, now I feel I can go on and do this car again if I ever need to. Yeah. So I really appreciate it a lot.
Yeah. And the coating, here's what's cool. In the future, it's gonna wash faster, it's gonna dry faster. In fact, if you haven't washed this car for a couple of weeks and you get caught in a rainstorm, Mother Nature will wash it for you. It'll just flush everything off.
Perfect.
The cool thing about coatings, though, is look at the gloss, okay? I like to use the word glassy. It gives it a glassy look, okay? So waxes and sealants are good, they're great, but this is like just a touch above glossy. It's glassy now. So, well, thank you so much. for trusting me to help you work on your own car, and I think it's in good hands with you now.
Thank you very much.
And you're going to want to get one of these.
Yeah, I'm probably going to. Mike does a good job teaching, and 3D does a good job cleaning.